Hi, and welcome to my channel, Dash and Jazz. I am Jasmine, a recipe developer, home cook, and amateur gardener, and I'm here to help you elevate your everyday eats with flavor, culture, and fun. If that is your vibe, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Today we are making the only turkey you will ever need for Thanksgiving, the only one you'll ever even want after watching this video. I am honestly not a turkey person. I come from a family of not really turkey people except for Nigerian food. We love smoked turkey in our Nigerian dishes. But for Thanksgiving, I'm a sides and desserts girly, always have been, always will be. But this turkey comes out flavorful and tender and juicy. It's honestly worth your time, and you don't have to babysit it. The holidays are stressful enough without making a whole project out of avoiding dry meat, in my opinion. So there's no basting or injecting, just a good old fashioned buttermilk brine that we're going to infuse with herbs and spices, and a little hot sauce. There's a little planning ahead involved because this is a 2-day affair, but don't go anywhere. It's easy. It's about 30 to 45 minutes of active like cooking time on your part, and then the rest of the time the turkey is either brining and marinating in the fridge, chilling out, or roasting in the oven while you go about your business. Now this recipe actually starts with the brine. I only want to infuse some of it because heating the buttermilk is going to kill the live cultures that will do the work of tenderizing the meat later. So I'm adding just 2 cups of buttermilk to a small saucepan with some crushed garlic cloves and all my herbs and spices, smoked paprika, bay leaves, fresh cracked black pepper, onion powder, and some red sage. And this looks like a lot of hot sauce, but remember that we are working with a big old bird. So don't worry, it is just the right amount. I like to stir this really well, so I'm speeding this up for you just so that everything gets uniform. And once it looks about like this, I will just let it boil away and start stirring occasionally. This is a pretty quick process. And then I reduce the heat after it's boiled to let it simmer for about 20 minutes and then remove it from the heat altogether and dissolve in some salt. Again, this looks like a lot of salt, but remember we are working with a large bird. And then I let this just come to room temperature while I move on to assembling my tools and starting on the turkey. Now let's get into the kitchen tools, and I will link them in the video description so you can find exactly what I use. First up is this basting bag, which I really like because it has a fold at the bottom that makes it stand up, so it's very easy to fill, stays sealed, perfect. Kitchen shears are the tool for making spatchcocking a turkey really quick and easy to do. You can do it with a knife, but I'm not about that life. A sheet pan for later, and then a kitchen towel and a cutting board. Lay the kitchen towel down first, then the cutting board over top because you don't want any slipping and sliding while you're using a sharp tool. As you'll see shortly, I do have to tussle with this bird just a little bit. This makes the cutting board nice and secure. Now this is a 12-pound uncooked, unbrined turkey. I've named her Hetty. I'm laying her breast side down on the cutting board and locating her backbone. If you don't want to name something you're going to eat later, I understand, but this is my girl Hetty. Say hi. And spatchcocking is optional, but it gives us more surface area exposed to heat while the turkey cooks, so we'll get as much crispy skin as possible. It also significantly shortens the cooking time, which I love because I'm not trying to do too much when it comes to the turkey. There are pies to make, yams to candy, greens to clean, and I will actually link my entire Thanksgiving menu lineup for you in the description box in case you need those recipes too. But as you can see, I'm making cuts on either side of the neck, inch by inch, and alternating sides like this as I cut keeps a good amount of tension on the backbone so that it's easier to get out. If you were to just cut all the way down one side and then all the way down the other, you would have a tougher time. And this process took me about 10 minutes. I'm speeding up the video significantly for you, but you can see that I'm almost there. It did get tougher toward the end, so I took my kitchen knife and made some scoring cuts to help make it easier. And I did wind up taking this backbone out in 2 pieces, which is not a problem. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just have to get it out. That's really all there is to it. So don't worry if you're not able to get it out in one go. I'm not even able to do that all the time. Hetty did not want to let this backbone go, and I'm like, girl, you're already dead. But I was really questioning myself at this point, like, am I going to be able to spatchcock this turkey? What's going on? But as you can see, the backbone is finally free. So you set that aside, and I take out the giblets and any other internal organs. We're going to use that for gravy. Did I mention we're making gravy? Because we are. And then flip it over. For the final act, before I start adding flavor, I'm turning Hetty over onto her back and splaying out her limbs to get her into position. And I'm going to press down firmly, almost like I'm doing CPR, but I'm not until I hear. Perfect. Now I've put Hetty into a basting bag, and I've actually gone ahead and double bagged just to be on the safe side. I don't want juices dripping all over my fridge, and if you don't either, go ahead and take that tip to heart. Better safe than sorry. Now I'm pouring in that infused buttermilk brine, which has come to room temperature by now, and then I'm following up with the rest of the plain buttermilk. And I'm going to seal up each bag one by one and press out as much air as possible while I go, and then shake everything just to fully incorporate both of those liquid mixtures and get them all over Hetty. And then I will put these bags into the fridge, and I'm going to flip the bag over twice a day every 12 hours so that she gets evenly brined. Okay, by now, Hetty has been hanging out in her well-seasoned buttermilk bath for about 48 hours, and I've taken her out of those basting bags and put her onto a full sheet pan to let her come to room temperature for about 45 minutes to an hour and let some of that excess buttermilk drip off. I'm also saving 1 cup of the brine to use in the gravy later. Now that Hetty has come to room temperature, I'm going to transfer her over onto another sheet pan that's lined with a wire rack. If you don't have a rack, you could use some sheets of either aluminum foil or parchment paper, whatever is available to you. Just make sure that you flip over the legs like you see me doing here to expose the skin and just really get her in the best position for crispy skin and even cooking. And then you can tuck in the wingtips, you can tie them, or you can just tint them with foil as it cooks to keep them from burning, which is what I did. This is going to the oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for the first 30 minutes, then 400 degrees Fahrenheit until she's done. While the turkey roasts, let's make that gravy. I add 4 cups of broth or stock, and it can be chicken, turkey, veggie, whatever you have, to a saucepan over medium-high heat. Then I add that turkey neck that I pulled from the turkey. Remember, you can also add giblets and the backbone here if you have them. And then I bring this mixture to a boil and then reduce the heat, cover it, and let it simmer for a good hour. After the simmer, I uncover the pot, turn off the heat, and strain out any solid turkey pieces so that we just have that beautiful broth left behind. And then I set the broth aside into another container so I can use this same pan and have it clean for building the roux. For the roux, I melt down 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and then I go in with half of a chopped onion. I'm using a sweet yellow onion here. You can use whatever you like. Stir that to coat it in the butter and let it cook until the onion starts to turn translucent and is very fragrant. It's about 4 minutes. Then I go in with a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. That's going to be our thickener. Stir it again, coat everything, and let it cook until it just slightly turns golden brown. then I add that reserved buttermilk, about a quarter cup of it, as well as the turkey broth that we just made. I stir everything together to get it really well incorporated and then just let it bubble away and do its thing. The gravy is going to thicken as it cooks, and I think it's almost time for our turkey to come out. Y'all look ahead, y'all golden brown and gorgeous. As you can see, I went in and tinted the wingtips and the ends of the drumsticks with foil just so that they wouldn't burn. Again, you don't have to babysit this bird, but I do recommend peeping at it a couple of times to make sure it's cooking evenly and to check the temperature. I cooked her to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and then carryover cooking brought her up to 165 degrees. And you can see there's not a lot of drippings on the pan because all the moisture stays in the bird thanks to that buttermilk brine. After letting the bird rest for about 30 minutes for that carryover cook I mentioned and to let the juices redistribute, I'm going to style it up with some fresh orange slices and sage leaves to give you a visual on how you could serve it whole. You can certainly use different fruits, vegetables, herbs, whatever you have available. Other citrus fruits like lemon, grapefruit, blood oranges are in season at this time of year, cranberry, pomegranate, rosemary. Go as wild as you want for that extra razzle dazzle. And now I'm just quickly, or at least quickly due to speeding up the video, carving up the turkey, cutting off the leg quarters and then separating the drums from the thighs, cutting off the wings. And as you can see, I'm not a professional chef. I'm just getting it apart, how I can get it apart, and then splitting the breasts. And then I like to arrange the pieces on a platter once I have them into servable pieces and style again with the same kinds of fruits and herbs. You can feel free to play with this and arrange it as you see fit. Honestly, your guests should just be grateful and in the spirit of Thanksgiving that you put in the work to bring such a beautiful, succulent, juicy, flavorful bird to the table. I doubt that they will be looking for the garnishes, but they will be looking for a second plate as well as some of that gravy because it is almost just as good as the turkey. I hope you'll enjoy this bird with your friends and family this Thanksgiving season. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, leave any questions and comments you have below, subscribe to my channel, and be sure to check out the description box for all the recipe details. See you next time.